This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text the show on 81215, follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio, and email the show via the Absolute Radio website because we don't have our own email address just yet. But it's on the way, apparently.
Oh.
Hot news.
Oh.
You'll be glad to hear about. Ooh, I tell you what I did this week. I went to the Beano exhibition at Somerset House. Somerset House is in London, a large conurbation in the southeast of England. And yeah, it was... what are you laughing at?
I just think it's quite funny.
Well,
the clash of beautiful architecture and comic
well, there's a lot of beautiful architecture in Beano Town, let me tell you.
I can imagine.
You should see Lord Snooty's castle.
Is it sort of etchings of Nasher or sort of...
There's some etchings of Nasher, yes.
Walter the Softy.
There's a sculpture of the Three Bears sausage and mash stack. It's really very... I mean, I have to say, I did some great dadding the other day because we went... I took my 9-year-old Buzz. We went to the Beano exhibition. He got to fire a digital catapult at major works of art, firing fruit and vegetables. Come on.
Well, that's good.
And then we went to part 1 of the Harry Potter play.
Oh.
Which obviously he loved. Yeah, then we did Forbidden Planet, then McDonald's, then part 2 of the Harry Potter play. I mean, come on, Dad Express. I did a good job on that, I thought. Oh, I'll tell you something else. They had the first ever copy of the Beano number 1, I believe it's called. And the cover star in those days was an ostrich called Big Eggo.
Oh, I've known a few of those.
Yeah, well, exactly. I've known people that actually pronounce the word ego as Eggo. So I don't know if it was a pun. I'm guessing in the ostrich context, it's about laying big Eggos. Yeah, and I've also done that a few times.
right back at you.
Yeah, but there was some interesting research about Big Eggo. He had a good run. He did 10 years on the cover of the Beano, and then they did some audience research. This is serious. And the audience said they struggled to identify with a bird.
That's what I get on this show.
And they'd prefer a mammal that they could identify with. I read the actual report said that they prefer characters with 4 limbs like themselves, which is a bit... You wouldn't get away with that now. And so, as a result of this research, Big Eggo got...
You stop saying Big Eggo like it's a normal thing.
Big Eggo got sacked, and Biffo the bear, open brackets, mammal, close brackets, was introduced. So that is an interesting piece of comic reasoning. They can't identify with a bird. They need a mammal. Imagine that meeting. There's Biffo the bear. Bears, are they mammals? Look that up, Jane, will you?
That's not normally the rhetorical question that people ask about bears, but there you go.
No, exactly. No. Well, I think birds do that as well.
Well,
I think we can safely say. It was all very fine, though. I'll tell you what, we was in McDonald's, and... it suddenly occurred to me, Buzz had the usual, please, Jeff. He had the Happy Meal. Toy!
Does he have the equivalent of a tankard behind the bar?
Yeah, exactly. That'd be great. If he had a sort of enamelled small fries container. But he had a Happy Meal. Toy, and he said you get the choice, book or toy, and my heart went into my mouth, but no, he went toy. But can an adult buy a Happy Meal? Would they sell me one?
Oh.
I think maybe they've decided
One of the
that.
great questions of modern life.
I think happiness they've considered to be so unusual amongst adults that there's no point marketing the happy meal at them. The morose meal, the morose snack. Is what there should be a box like that. But if anyone knows 8, 12, 15, if I asked for a happy meal for me, sometimes in pubs you ask, can I have the child something from the child menu, and they'll say no if you don't have a child.
Yeah.
There's no logic to that, surely. Can I buy a happy meal 8, 12, 15?
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
660, Frank. So it says, seeing as Frank has been to the Beano exhibition, it's a simple good morning to you all. Nasha, off of Bedford. One of our regulars, Nasha, has got in touch. Lovely.
Okay.
We've also had some communiques, haven't we, Al, regarding Happy Meals?
Yeah. Respectamunda to Lynn, who says, morning, I always have a Happy Meal with milkshake, and I'm 51 years old.
Oh, good news. Book or tie, Lynn?
Yeah.
That's what I want to know. I think they're doing Mr. Men toy and women at the moment. In fact, I think...
Are there Mr. Women then?
Yeah, there are Mr. Women. But let's not go into that.
No,
Yeah, there's. I think bars...
930.
Oh, go on.
930 has told us they will sell you a Happy Meal. I get them every now and again. The chips are the correct size portion. I don't like that judgment there.
Yeah.
Others have got bigger appetites than others.
Yeah, the idea that there's a correct size portion of chips, that is... that's a bit 1984.
Bit too rigid for me there.
Al, what about 072, who says, hi, gang. Oh, gone very Beano.
Yeah.
Bagsby, Walter the Softie. Hi, gang.
Walter the Softie isn't a softie anymore. It was decided that was an unfair power balance. So he's now the Lord Mayor's son. He's become a sort of a bit tight hair.
Oh, he's gone up even more in my estimation.
Do you know the Beano properly wrote a letter to Rhys Mogg saying, will you stop copying we have a copyright on Walter. And that's true, they had the letter at the exhibition. Sorry, carry on.
072, hi gang, you can buy a Happy Meal, but you have to act all casual like it's not for you.
Oh, okay.
Just say, he gives us an example, just say, hi mate, 2 Happy Meals please. Say nothing more.
And they'll say, what, nothing for you, sir?
Yeah, exactly.
That'll be, no, I've already eaten, but my children. Yeah, I'll try it. I'm going to have one next time. I might even have apple and grape supplement packet. Oh. We'll see. All right, calm down. Silence has fallen on the room. He's not really going to do that, is he? Ridiculous. McDonald's. Yeah, they're battered grapes and apple.
Nice.
I do like to order the child's meal sometimes, because the thing is, I find the quarter pounder is too much, I find.
Oh, man, I like it. Anyway, we shouldn't be plugging McDonald's.
Yes, you're absolutely right. And can I say, we are not paid by...
No, we're not paid. Is anyone paid by McDonald's? I don't know. Even the people who work there, I'm not sure.
Back in the day, I went into a pub, went on tour, like waiting for a comedy gig, and they had those buy one meal or buy 2 meals for $5.95 type thing, back in the day. And I ordered them both, but asked for the second meal to come a few minutes after the first meal.
And ate them both?
I ate 2 consecutive meals in a pub in somewhere like Milton Keynes, Little snapshot into the life of a touring comedian.
Yeah, I can't see you having a Happy Meal somehow. Doesn't quite fit.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We have this in from Nigel Fern. Started watching Shane, and it's excellent. And other things I never thought I'd receive in 2021. No. And he continues, loving the sharp gags.
Shane is my great failed sitcom. Well, the first series went out, and I made, in case you're new to the show, we filmed, edited, dubbed, polished, and finished the second series, and it's never been broadcast. There you go.
And this is part of the long campaign to make that broadcast happen, isn't it?
Well, I
don't
know. The trouble is, more or less every episode would have to end with someone's dates who died since we made it. You know what I mean?
Oh.
And a picture of them from Spotlight. So yeah, that's the thing.
We've also heard from Dave Thorne, who has said, and when were you going to tell us this, Frank? And he's shared a link to a Radio Times feature, which is headlined this: hashtag Doctor Who spin-off, hashtag Class, was originally supposed to star
Frank Skinner.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I didn't know that. I only read it this week myself. I got it on my Doctor Who alerts.
About yourself? That's amazing.
I know, yeah, I didn't know. So their plan was, I don't know if you remember Class, I spoke about it on air. It was set at the school where two of the original Doctor Who companions were teachers, Barbara and Ian.
Right.
And there had been an episode of Doctor Who where Peter Capaldi was a caretaker at the school. And the idea was to get another sort of caretaker figure, an older guy, and then a bunch of youth. There'd be some youth in it, I was top of the list apparently for the caretaker figure, and then Patrick Ness, the writer, was introduced, and he said, "Oh no." Not about me in particular, I think, to be fair, but he said, you got to empower youth. They don't want some older authority figure, and they got to sort things out for themselves. And so the idea. So I was so close.
Oh,
so close to start. I actually really liked it as well. So, what can you do?
Well, he did say...
And my dad was a school caretaker, so I had all the research.
Yeah.
I grew up with a
They always make you play engineers or caretakers.
I know, I wonder why that is. And, when my dad was a caretaker, we had so much Izal toilet paper, which he brought back from the school, and also stuff. Izal was the stuff famously sort of shiny, spiky toilet paper that people talk about. But we had this stuff which was called Faye. The same as our assistant producer, but I think she is as an E at the end. But it was called Faye, and it was scouring powder, and it was sort of the poor man's. I don't know if you remember Vim and Ajax, or as they call it, of course, in Holland, Ajax. But Vim means energy, and Ajax is obviously a warrior from Greek.
No Hercules, is there? I would have gone for that if I was.
But Faye, it's a kind of pixie, I think.
Also, I would say our Faye. I'm calling her our Faye.
Yeah.
In the manner of our Keith.
Yeah.
As a member of the family. She's the least abrasive character I've ever met.
Yes, and she doesn't scour. That's certainly true.
No.
Because I sent her into the building for hand sanitizer last week, and she came and said, "No, I've looked in the foyer, and there wasn't any."
Foyer.
Yeah. What about the rest of the building? Did you scour? No. Ironic, really.
Patrick. Is this character called Patrick Ness?
Patrick Ness.
He said his quote was, "I remember they'd mentioned Frank Skinner as a possible idea, but I said, with the greatest respect to Frank Skinner."
See, that's all right. I can handle that. But when someone says that, then the killer blow's coming.
Well, with slightly less respect, Patrick, I think you've missed out.
Well, I could see his point, really, that, it's young people solving their own problems, something exciting about that.
Yeah, let me know how that works out for them.
Well, one series.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So I completed my tour this week.
Oh,
yeah.
congratulations.
How was it?
Thanks very much. It was I tell you, we drove, me and Omar, my tour manager, we drove to Poole in Dorset. And we listened to a 90-minute adaptation of Paradise Lost on Radio 4, which was a bit hard on Omar. But as I pointed out to him, he's a Fulham fan, and I said I did listen to the second half of Fulham QPR when I got in the car. So fair's fair.
Presumably was 45 minutes, though.
That was 45 minutes. And you might say it was easier listening. It was actually really good, the PL, I'd reckon. I don't mean the Premier League, I mean the Paradise Lost.
Paradise Lost.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I don't mean the Premier League.
Ian McKellen has smelt tonight. My eyes are tired. Yeah, so he was in it. And Simon Russell Beale.
Oh, these are my people.
Yeah, exactly.
I see Ian maybe recording that with a leather waistcoat of some sort.
A leather waistcoat,
yes.
You think? Wow.
Glasses on a lanyard dangling.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Where's the script, darling? Yeah, so anyway, it was good. I recommend it to you all. And I stayed at Poole in the Hotel of Wine.
Oh, nice.
The Hotel de Vannes, as they call it in France. And regular readers will know I have problems with the Hotel of Wine because they don't have numbers, the rooms. They are named after wine.
Yeah.
And also, I don't like their slogan, money doesn't buy happiness unless you spend it on wine. I don't know. No.
You'd dispute that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I would. Yes.
Although there was a period where you drank alcohol-free wine, and that made you quite happy for a while, didn't it?
Yeah, relatively happy. Obviously not as happy as when I drank real wine. But I just don't know if they should be pushing that. I suppose they are the Hotel of Wine. If you stay in there, you're asking for it. Anyway, I can never remember the name. And at last, I stayed in a room at the Hotel of Wine that I could remember the name of. And it was called Crystal.
Oh.
With an I.
Yes.
Oh. So
Cristal.
Does it ring any bells?
Is that Cristal? Has it got a long
Cristal
second?
is one of the most expensive champagnes.
Well, I looked it up. Cristal, it's called.
I believe so, Al. Is that how you'd say it?
I think it is Cristal.
Well, I'm told that in hip-hop circles, it's called Chrissy.
Oh, yeah, they love it.
Bottle of Chrissy, yeah.
They've shortened it and sort of made it a bit more matey, haven't they?
People like the notorious B.I.G. used to drink Chrissy.
Yeah.
They should have called it Hind.
Yeah, so it's like I got the hip hop room at the Hotel of Wine.
Yeah.
Ironically,
the notorious B.I.G. was drinking Chrissy in small glasses.
Is that right?
Oh, lovely.
You know, because it's B.I.G. small.
Biggie Small.
Oh, I see.
Biggie Small.
Sorry. Sorry. Yeah, so that was the only time I've been able to remember the name of my room, which was quite.
Well, you know, can I just say you've just given away that you were rather upgraded. You were in one of the top suites.
So is what the Chrissy suite?
No, not necessarily the Chrissy suite, but all the champagne rooms.
Oh, is that right?
If you get if you get the Dom P, come on.
I once stayed at a Hotel de Vannes and my room was called Tap Water. So,
sounds all right to me.
Yeah.
Should have been free, that, shouldn't it, that room? That'd be great. Pastor Courvoisier, that's what I remember. Who was that? I saw him live. Any help? It's great. It's the great thing about working on music radio. Look round, nothing, blank-faced. Pastor Courvoisier.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
I was at a Kraftwerk gig once, and afterwards in the après, I was talking to Ralph Hutter of Kraftwerk, and Grace Jones went past and said, "Bye, Ralph. See you in Paris." Oh, man, what a life these people lead.
You've been keeping that anecdote up your sleeves. I mean, that's quite extraordinary cast of characters.
Oh, yeah, Strictly Tonight.
Oh, do you know, I'm loving
Been singing that a lot, you guys.
And that theme tune, whatever you think of Strictly, that is one of the great theme tunes of all time. They gather round for the key change.
Oh, do you know what? And it's increasing levels of jeopardy every time it goes up.
And also the middle eight is almost it's almost nothing because they know the main theme is so good. That's all right, we're back. Yes. Now the other week,
you're a Dave Arch fan as well, Frank.
Dave Arch, who I didn't know the name of until he was mentioned in the room off air. Dave Arch is the MD, musical director.
And one of the
funniest things about Strictly for me is the singers. God bless them, but they really make me laugh. Because everything is as if it was done by Frank Sinatra when the blokes do it. So the other week, me and Emily were talking about this. Me and Boz, my child, are backing this guy who's a CBBC presenter. That's how we choose our heroes on there. And he danced to Spider-Man. So you know the old classic Spider-Man. So they did it on there. Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. Take a look overhead. Can he swing on a thread? It was all like... And Buzz said to me, why are they singing it like that? Which I thought was a very... You know how kids got to the heart of the matter. Hey there goes the Spider-Man. Yeah, it's a great dance, though. But
I'm surprised they didn't say, that's Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's hard to enjoy the dance through my tears because I was laughing that much. Imagine if Frank Sinatra gets a cut. They want me to sing what? Spider-Man? Are you crazy? So that was that.
Yeah. Oh.
In the chill of night at the scene of a crime. Great lyrics. Is he strong? Listen, Bod. He's got radioactive blood. Oh, is that a good thing?
Do they, you know when they have the famous people on, like Robbie Williams might do it.
On Strictly.
Doing the performance.
And they sing and someone dances in front of them.
I find that very awkward, and I love the show, I have to say. I'm a huge fan. But I think there should be a pause in proceedings because it just feels like it was intimate. They're serenading the couple.
You don't want the dancing next to them. It's like, do you remember they used to do things at the Miss World when a big singer would do a number with all the girls? I remember like Brian Ferry dancing in and out of these beauty queens singing. You think, no. Yeah, it's, you got to keep the two. It's all got to be separated. Compartmentalisation, that's what you want.
Oh, yeah.
Bit of a tip there for the Strictly guys. In the still of night, at the scene of a crime.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text the show on 81215. Follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio, or email the show via the Absolute Radio website. Remember my new jingle? Outside world, whoa, the outside world. So have we heard from them?
Yes, do you remember, Frank, you were talking about the Chrissy room earlier, which you stayed in?
Oh, yes, the Chrissy room at the Hotel of Wine.
Yes. 678 has got in touch. Frank, did you wear a denim samosa dungaree in your hip-hop Chrissy room?
Oh, can you imagine if I had? If I had, it would have been a tribute to Kylie Minogue. in her mechanic days.
It may be worth explaining the samosa reference to the dungaree.
I was talking about there is a method of wearing dungarees where you only do one of the shoulder straps, and that causes the bib to fall down and form a denim samosa.
Yes.
A sort of three-cornered denim package.
It's a real talent you've got, that sort of imagery, I must say.
Oh, thank you, Alan. It's lovely.
That's all right.
A lovely
329 has got in touch with a reference to last week's show. Morning, referencing last week. It actually says ref last week, as if referee. I am a wannabe goth. Still quite mysterious so far, isn't it? But I think we'll get there. Black is the only colour, and bonus, nothing ever clashes in your wardrobe. It continues, I need to clarify, the spiders were dead or were the shedded skins? Do you remember last week we discussed picking up a dressing gown, and somebody texted and said that they'd picked up a dressing gown, and there was a large number, I can't remember, but I think it was something like 150 that they said.
Dead spiders.
I need to clarify, the spiders were dead or were the shedded skins, and FYI, they were the Folcus variety, Folcus. I did a spider dissertation in my teens, and that's from Celia. There's a lot in there, isn't there?
There really is.
Oh, yeah.
I hope that the spider dissertation included an MP3 of Spider-Man. Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. Yes, I remember it now. It was a lady saying that she took her black dressing gown out, and that's how we arrived at her being a goth. And she said it was covered in spiders, which we were all sort of slightly horrified by, but they were just dead spiders, as if that isn't horrific enough.
Yeah.
How did they die en masse?
Fine.
Yeah.
You see, I just keep a white one for the morning when I need to get going.
Spider?
No, a DG, and then a grey fluffy one for the evening when I'm settling down for the night.
Well, I have one of those foil post-London Marathon wraps, which I took out of the wardrobe and was covered in silverfish. Which, that was a strange... do you still get silverfish? When I lived back home in the council house in Birmingham, if you got up in the night and put the light on, there'd be a great scurrying of silverfish across the floor. Do you know them? They're like tiny little fish, but with legs.
I mean, when you say, do you know them?
I don't.
Yeah. You don't know silverfish? There'll be people out there. They look like very, very, very tiny white bait, but with legs. And they all sort of scurried off when the light came on.
Are they in the same gang as earwigs?
Oh, they were much smaller than earwigs. An earwig could use one as a backpack. I've seen it happen. I haven't seen it. That's a lie.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We go out an hour later on the decade stations, as you know, which means that something that we discussed an hour ago, we now get text messages about. So we are getting some messages telling you that you can buy Happy Meals.
Oh, good.
Which we discussed a while ago.
I like that.
159 is telling you not often you get kids buying them. The parents buy them. So who's to say who will eat it? Which I think is a good point.
It is a good point. I mean, it could be watched. You know, CCTVs everywhere now.
Yeah.
By the way, I remembered it was Buster Rhymes that did Pasta Courvoisier.
Very good.
Oh, was it?
It was. Yeah.
Steve Myers.
Does
also,
he? Thanks for the tip.
He has a request. Would you ever release the off-air segments of the show as a podcast? We often hear you having a chuckle when you come back from adverts or songs, and would love to be able to know what you'd been chatting about. That question to Frank Skinner.
Well, if I was diagnosed with a killer disease and decided upon a scorched earth policy, as far as my exit was concerned, yes, I'd happily release all the off-air conversations.
What about what I was saying this morning? Yeah, I think so.
Just going to Google legal insurance and see how much that runs to before we do that.
Is there a sort of equivalent of injury lawyers for perjury. Was it be libel or libel liars for you? I love her for you. Oh, very good.
Said something terrible about a celebrity.
Yeah.
Call us.
Indiscreet off air.
Accidentally put it on a podcast.
Yeah. Accidentally edited and putting it very neatly together on a podcast with advert breaks. Call us.
Oh.
Oh, here's a good question. 194, Mandy Silver has said, yes, Frank, I often buy a happy cheeseburger meal for myself. I always say no toy, thank you. Should I have a discount if I don't have a toy?
That's an interesting point.
That's exactly the sort of thinking I approve of.
Toy or book, you usually get offered. She even refuses the book.
Maybe she should go toy, book, brackets, discount, close brackets.
Yeah, I don't, they would argue, I think they're not included in the price. They are a free gift.
A Brucey bonus.
Yeah, I think so.
Did we, in our day, was the Hamburglar the free gift?
Oh.
The what?
The Hamburglar.
Little toy.
Are you not familiar with the Hamburglar?
I don't remember the Hamburglar.
Alan, are you familiar with the Hamburglar?
I am, yeah.
Would you care to... The Hamburglar was... I mean, it's not... It was sort of glamorising burglary, essentially. He was...
And ham. Yeah.
And ham. He had the traditional thief's garb.
But it was a pig, was it?
Black and white sweater and little marscowl maybe and some swag.
I think so, yeah.
I don't remember that at all.
He was the
I don't
mischievous.
remember him being a pig, though.
No, he wasn't a pig.
I thought Hamburglar, it kind of made sense.
No, they didn't think it through.
Okay. No, that is complete. You know when people mention stuff and it's utterly and completely passed you by? A TV show does something and nothing. The Hamburglar doesn't even ring a tiny, tiny distant bell.
He was the character. He had very slender legs. He was.
This was in McDonald's,
shouldn't
was
but
it?
would, if I'm completely honest with you. For me.
Was he?
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Encouraging crime there as a side in a fast food outlet here on Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
So, Emily has put me right on the Hamburglar. I was starting to think, because I had zero memory of it, that maybe she'd made a mistake, but no. It just passed me by. As burglars,
You had other
passed
stuff.
me like a thief in the night.
You had other stuff going on then in the 80s.
I did.
Simon.
Was there some heavy drinking involved that you means that you might have missed, like whimsical advertising slogans?
Unless anyone left a Hamburglar on waste ground, I probably wouldn't have seen it.
Simon Grant has been in touch, and I rather like Simon Grant's, just his nod to the Hamburglar. To put it in terms Frank may understand, the Hamburglar was to Ronald McDonald as the Master is to Doctor Who. Do you understand?
Oh, I see. So there was a sort of arch enemy for Ronald McDonald.
Yeah, Moriarty. The Hamburglar was very Moriarty.
So Emily showed me a picture of him, and there were other accomplices. There was the pork embezzler, and the bacon bigamist.
Well, there were others. You may laugh, but as Jamie Wood has pointed out, if you thought Hamburglar was weird, what about Grimace? Which was some kind of purple thing. It looked like someone's had to dress up in a purple costume for sort of National Prune Week or something.
Okay.
And more
Tracy Shaw.
and more terrifying. Officer Big Mac. I don't like that.
Did he wear a Big Mac? Officer Big Mac?
As Jamie says, it appears to be the result of some kind of hideous genetic experiment. It's a giant Big Mac head and then a police uniform.
So there's an old McDonald's underworld that passed me by completely. So Ronald McDonald's either imprisoned or finished them off in some dark method. I've never seen that.
Those are fallen angels.
They could do some kind of origin story.
That would be brilliant. I think
if you
watch
go
that.
right back, Ronald McDonald, I think his great-granddad had a farm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Old McDonald had a farm.
Yeah, I think I know the postcode. Oh dear. Anyway, we've talked a lot about McDonald's. We'll have Burger King on the phone saying we pay to advertise on. I don't know if they do. I don't think they do.
In other news, Darlington Jack has retweeted Molly Goodfellow's tweet. She asked, do you think there's a tuck shop in the Vatican? And Darlington Jack said, if anyone on here can answer that, it's at Frank on the radio. Oh, and maybe at Pontifex. Now, the fact that you have been tweeted with at Pontifex.
Yeah, well, there's a cafe at the Vatican, but there isn't actually a tuck shop. Not the sort of place where Billy Bonter, the fat owl of the Remove, would go for jammy dodgers. Not that kind of. I don't know. Do people still have tuck shops? They're not called tuck shops anymore. Tuck shops would be somewhere where you went for your surgery, wouldn't they?
Oh, yeah.
That's what they should have. They should have a cosmetic surgery place called the Tuck Shop. Why don't people... I don't know. The punning title. I feel people are really missing opportunities. I'd be happy to go there. And they should all dress as Friar Tuck, everyone who works there. I'm riffing. Have you noticed? I'm riffing.
Frank Skinner. Absolute Radio.
I'd like to speak to you about a hero, and I use the term advisedly, who's gone viral. Christian Rutgering. I've probably said that not quite right. Who's a football fan who was spotted watching his team FC 20.
Lovely, Al, the way you did that.
Did I? Did I do that all right? 20.
Is that what they call them now, FC 20?
20.
Because they used to be called 20 Enschede. Because Enschede is the town they come from. The reason I remember that is there was a Ron Atkinson press conference, I remember, when he was manager of Man United.
His name makes me laugh.
And he was talking about, I think it was Arnold Muren he was talking about, who was a Man United player. And he said... I can't remember where he started, but I don't know how old he is either. And somebody shouted, one of the journalists said, 20 Enschede. He said, was he? God, I thought he was older than that. And he seriously thought they'd said 20 yesterday. It's a terrible, chaotic moment when nobody knew what was going on.
That was back when press conferences were written by sitcom writers.
Exactly. If only they still were. But yeah, so FC20 was always called 20 Enschede. It's got to be the same.
Oh, see, this is why I like working with Skinner. He knows all this. But FC20, right.
You're going to keep saying it like that.
Yeah, I like it because... I seem to recall, and I know, Frank, you will be able to enlighten me. I think that was the Steve McLaren. Wasn't that when he went to manage a team and there was that video of him saying, we were, what do you call it?
Yeah, when he became...
he became Dutch. Temporarily Dutch.
He did.
Was it FC Twente?
Apparently it's the only time he ever went Dutch. I don't know if that was...
Come on, that deserves something more than that.
But anyway, this bloke, Al, as you say, has become a strange hero.
He's been lauded as a hero for, and I'm not exaggerating, he carried 48 beers back to his seat in one go.
Yeah, not cans we're talking. We're talking about open pints.
I mean, I read an article that said he didn't spill a drop, but I don't think there's any scientific proof of that.
No.
I don't want to be too cynical.
If I carried 48 beers and didn't spill a drop, I'd be going back to the bar with a friend of mine in Birmingham. If it was more than like half an inch from the top, I remember he used to go, short measure. He always used to say it really loudly, like I'm very intimidated. He's quite a big bloke as well. I'll tell you what.
Brilliantly, Christian said that it wasn't even a record in his social group, and mentions a friend of his who in the past has carried 50 beers in one go, which I love.
Well, there's some.
Are you talking about his friend Zhou Shen?
Yes.
Oh,
okay, thank you.
God, you've done your.
Yes, you know I like to remember these characters' names, Frank.
For me, this sounds like one of those. Remember, you used to get like written maths questions in exams. 5 crates he carried full of 48 beers. Well, that's a difficult division, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because when you look at it, I can't see any gaps. So. It just doesn't make any sense.
It would make more sense for it to be 4 crates with 12 beers per crate.
So one had 3 in it only, presumably.
Well, no, it didn't look. They looked like full on the picture. And also, you need the rest of the sum. I want to know how many is in his social group.
And then you've got FC20 part of this sum.
Well, yeah. And then 90 minutes as well. So you've got to. It's like how many men, or could be women, how many men or women how long does it take them to drink 48 pints of beer? You know what I mean? You need some of the other figures here. If he's with 24 people, it's not so bad, is it?
Easy maths, yeah.
Yeah.
Who are the people?
If he's with 4 people.
What if he's with the world's strongest man? Let's sink those in 20 seconds.
Probably just with his old age pensioner father. Off they go. Awful.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
We're discussing this morning on Absolute Radio the 48-pint legend.
Mm-hmm.
Christian Rother-Göring, who supports FC Twente, and
we've had a good bit of information actually from the outside world. I think you'll appreciate this because we love facts on this show, don't we? The 5 has texted in. The world record for the number of pints carried is by another Dutchman called Gert de Beers.
Okay.
You get it?
Makes sense.
It's a joke.
It's a joke. It's good. It's good. Fool me.
I liked it. I didn't want to tee it up as a joke because I liked it.
It worked. I was fooled.
As they used to say on Catchphrase, it's good, but it's not right.
Look, I'm just happy to see somebody carrying something rather than dragging it behind them on wheels.
Oh yeah.
What about that?
Well,
that wouldn't work, would it?
I do remember when I went to the darts at Ali Pali, one of the greatest nights of my life. That's a good theme. You know, you sing that. You say, do you know that? Yeah, Sarah knows it, you see.
This was time of our lives. Is that? Never felt. Is that what they play at the darts?
No. So you sing the theme, but anyway, when I went to the darts, I went to order 2 pints, and they said it was a 4-pint minimum. 4-pint minimum. You weren't allowed to order less than 4 pints.
Wow,
that's great.
I had to carry the 4 pints back.
That is double tops. That's brilliant.
So what I'm saying is maybe this character, who knows, maybe FC Twente had some sort of pintage minimum.
Right, like 46 pints minimum.
And he thought, well, I might as well get around 48.
A couple of extra for spillage.
Exactly. Yeah. But he didn't spill a drop, let's not forget.
Yeah.
I think this is why a lot of football fans have switched to Class A drugs, isn't it? It's just the transportation problems. That's what a policeman was actually telling me that as a fact. But not the transportation. I've added that as a comic twist on it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what it did remind. It reminded me of like Dutch drinking problems in general, and there used to be an advert on the telly for the traditional Dutch drink Advocaat.
Oh yeah,
remember that?
That was my favourite, a snowball.
Advocaat was a sort of a yellowy, creamy alcoholic thing that was always the last bottle to go in when people who had wine cabinets in their homes. And there used to be an advert for it, which was a sort of a jolly very happy-looking Dutch man drinking Advocon. And Advocon, do you remember the company that made...
Was it Warnings?
Yes, a Warnings. And he said, evenings and mornings, I drink Warnings. And I thought, no one questioned the mornings element of that slogan. I thought, no wonder he's smiling, this bloke. He drinks it evenings and mornings. And even though it
mornings,
sounds...
please.
Yeah, but mornings, yeah. Well, of course, it sounds a bit like warnings. You think he might have picked up on that. But no, very genial. I have alcohol for breakfast, is what he was saying. But, of course, it sort of rhymed. He got away with it. Yeah, it's the old Pam Air strategy.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text the show on 81215. Follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio, or email the show via the Absolute Radio website.
We occasionally read out a correzione for something that we've got wrong on the show, like that time that I called a frying pan the wrong name. I think it was meant to be skillet and I called it something else. Anyway,
a skillet,
I'd like to read out a correzione. 773 has said, please get your facts about football correct in your news bulletin. Leeds host Wolves, not the other way round, as I'm on my way to Elland Road. And then about 9 exclamation marks.
Well, there was a mistake on the news.
I can exclusively...
Hey, we're all fallible, guys.
Of course.
Fallible.
I would like to confirm 773.
If the Pope's listening, not you, obviously.
Is that right?
Not you at Pontifex. I can confirm 773. You are absolutely right. Leeds do host Wolves.
What about if people have listened to our news bulletin and now heading off to Molineux for the Leeds game? Driving about 100 miles?
I know this because I'm riskily playing Rafinha today, so there you go.
Oh, in your
FPL. Still winning, Frank. Thank you.
Yes, Emily is top of the league in her fantasy football thing.
Comedians FPL.
Yeah.
Russell Howard's chasing me.
I would keep that to yourself. I think that's one for our off-air podcast.
It's not the type. Not rough.
It's a libel pod.
Can I ask you a question about the 48 pints man? I used to go to a lot of baseball in the United States of America. I've actually flown over there, watched 4 consecutive days of baseball at the New York Mets, who then played at Shea Stadium, and then flown back. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is, when you go to a baseball game in America, you're not off to the bar and off to the refreshments. They just walk up. There's people with trays of beers. There's people with Cracker Jack, popcorn, hot dogs walking up and down. And it's a brilliant thing. If you want to, let's say, some Cracker Jack, which is like, toffee with nuts in, you go, here, mate, here, and then you pass your money right along the row. They give it to the guy, and the Cracker Jack and the change is passed by, 10, 12 people and comes back to you.
It's almost as if they make it easy for people to eat a lot in America.
Yes. But you do end up having a lot more because you think, well, I don't want to miss the game or I don't want to queue up. Then you think, I'm not really hungry, but here's the Cracker Jack guy right next to me.
I've never come back from America and been able to successfully do up the button on my trousers.
No, I can understand that. But is it because the reason we don't do it here, is it because the UK authorities think that people wouldn't be trusted to pass the money along and the change back?
Or the beer, possibly.
Yeah, exactly. You just hand over your money, and that would
a cheeky sip.
Oh, that'd be the end of it. You hand over the money, and then it's just gone. And if you say anything, there's like a big bloke staring at you, and you have to just take it.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it depends on the fans as well. You wouldn't want to risk that at Millwall.
Speaking of drinks, Faye, our assistant producer, was just out. So she went to, where is it? She goes Whole Foods. And I said, get me a smoothie. And I said, she said, what kind do you want? And I said, well, something like, banana-y, mango-y. I don't want too much citrus this early in the morning. And fair enough, she came back with a thing that's called Pure Happiness.
Oh, lovely.
Not for me, thank you.
Okay.
Alan, that's your absolute nightmare.
Made by a company called Grassroots. Okay. I'm going to make this a cliffhanger because I forgot the face off. I want to tell you about if this is pure happiness, well, you can keep it.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So I was talking about the Grassroots company's drink, Pure Happiness.
Oh, yeah.
So it's arrived, Pure Happiness, and I had I love a quiz. So I held up the bottle to Emily and said, what flavour do you think this drink is? And she said, what is it, carrot? And I said, no. It isn't carrot, but I know why you guessed carrot because of its profound orangeness. However, it's strawberry, banana and mango. What? She said. What? So I had a little look at the ingredients of the Pure Happiness strawberry, banana, mango flavour drink.
And?
Okay, here we go with the ingredients.
Here we go.
Orange juice. Orange juice, 67%. Hold hard. So, why is it even called strawberry, banana, mango? No mention of orange juice. It's like when they used to get people to do the voice for Audrey Hepburn in My Fair Lady. It's like that, orange juice.
It's Milli Vanilli all over again.
What if I was allergic to orange juice and I'm buying a drink which is strawberry, banana, mango, and then I get back 67% orange juice? It's too early for citrus. Anyway, I read on. Strawberry, 11%. Oh, well, thanks for turning up, strawberry.
I mean, when you say I read on, don't make it sound like it's paradise really gay.
Yeah. And then, it's you say that it's pure happiness. Banana mango listed, but with no percentage. That's how they've just... I mean, it's just past a banana and a mango outside of greengrocers. Mm-hmm. And then it says may contain nuts and celery. I can see how you might drop nuts into some... How does that accidentally arrive? I hate celery as well. It's one of the worst foods on the planet. Celery, as you know, is like eating a violin.
Do you know what? I often think of that person who called you a bit of a git, and I don't know what they were talking about.
Well, look.
Well, he's not...
Strawberry, banana, mango. If I said to you, what is the 67% presence? I think you'd have guessed it was one of them. They'd be in your first three guesses. Orange juice dominates the affair.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that to me is... I mean, I'm fine. I can handle orange juice, but it's not what I want to. I'd have asked for orange. I'm not blaming Faye.
I think this whole link has been like a civic duty. It's like a public service announcement that you're doing here. It's almost like watching Watchdog or something.
I think this whole link has been a bit of an emotional meltdown.
I think Grassroots need to pull their socks up. That's the upshot of all this.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
I should say, before we go any further on the show, newsflash. Emily Dean in a fantasy football league. It's now been established that across the nation of all the fantasy football leagues, she is in the top 2%.
Yeah.
Of the fantasy football
place rankings.
Rankings, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
She's uptown top ranking with Althea and Donna.
There you go.
I would sing it, but it's impossible to sing it without doing a West Indian accent.
I know, but I'm worried now, you see. This is, pride comes before a Marquis Smith and all that.
Yes, well, enjoy it though. Enjoy it while you can. I think that's always good. It's like, you might be like, when Hull City seemed to be winning every week for the first half of the season and then dropped like a mighty stone. Still stayed up there. Don't tilt to your team on the pitch.
Okay. This is my... you know what? I'll enjoy my 5 minutes.
Yeah, and who's to say it will be 5 minutes? But don't hold back and wait.
Okay.
It's that, there's that thing that used to go around the internet about a bloke's wife was hit by a lorry or something and destroyed, and then he finds some stuff that she's been keeping for best.
Oh.
And the moral of this story is always keep the receipt.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can we please... Thank you for honouring me, Frank.
No.
Can we please discuss the Nigel Fest? I love this news. There was a pub landlord, white wine for the lady. Was it fruit-based drink for the lady?
Yeah. Yeah, well, maybe she'd like to try pure happiness.
That's the worst shut-up line I've ever heard. A pub landlord called Nigel Smith... He's been very concerned that the UK is set to become a Nigel-free zone. The name is facing extinction as there were no Nigels born in 2016 or 2020.
Well, there are no Nigels born, presumably.
No, in those intervening years, 2017 through 19, there were some Nigels born.
I don't think anyone is born, are they, with a name? Don't they have to be registered at some point?
Oh, but you know what I mean.
I know.
Come on, you're being very good.
I'm being picky. Pickypedia, that's what they call me.
Why don't you're treating me like that ingredients list, Frank?
I'm sorry. Did I tell you that when we registered bars, you have to go and officially give the name across? So Boz Cody, his name is, and we told her that. And then we started chatting to the registrar. And she said, we get a lot of people, come in who say, we want to call her, I don't know, Roseanne. And I say, oh, you're spelling that. And they go, oh, I don't know. And she said, we are not allowed to tell them a spelling. So they have to. She said, so a lot of people misspell the names and we're not allowed to correct them because we're not allowed input on the name. Oh. Just saying.
Okay.
That seems like a strange rule, doesn't it?
It does.
That they can't just intervene and say, you've spelled that wrong.
I believe that's why Jackie Buddy, if you remember her, she was Jackiey. For that reason, I believe.
Oh, okay, yeah. You see a lot. I mean, it doesn't really matter, I suppose, but there'll be no regularised spelling unless the registrar step in eventually. Anyway, this is not a...
Nigel, who runs the Fleece Inn, not somewhere you'd want to go, Al, in Worcestershire.
No, sounds too expensive. Although I do have a fleece, so maybe I would be welcome there.
He's offering a free pint to anyone who shows up with the ID proving they're a Nigel. He wants to... 2019, I think he got 432 Nigels together. He's now aiming for 1,000 Nigels in the Fleece.
If Nigella Lawson turned up,
yes,
would he give her... I bet he'd give her the drink, wouldn't he? Because she's Nigella Lawson, I guess.
That's one way of putting it.
Yeah. She won't turn up, let's face it.
Part of the reason he's so passionate, guys, is because he says he was born at the... Well, as he described it, he said, I was born in 1963. There were 5,000 Nigels born. It was peak Nigel.
Wow, 5,000 Nigels. That is... that'd be a wonderful name for an opera. Hold on, let me write that in my opera ideas book.
Oh, yeah.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Just in the midst of the Nigels, what about outside world, whoa, the outside world. It's my second favourite jingle.
We've got some silverfish news in from, for example...
Oh, yes, I was talking about when I used to get up in the morning and put the light on, there would be the frantic movement of silverfish, which are tiny insects, all scattering back into the skirting board.
868. Yes, I can confirm, Frank, the whitebait with legs, also known as silverfish, still exist. The workshop where I work is riddled with them. You usually... Riddled, it's never good.
No, you don't want to be riddled.
No, that's what I said to Rod. You usually spot them when you open or move cardboard boxes, as I believe they feed on the cellulose in the cardboard.
They do not. Take that back. Wow. I'll tell you the interesting thing about silverfish is the person who named them.
Yes.
They do look a bit like little fish, certainly.
They do.
But if I was going to name them, I'd take the fish element and then I would have an added bit that showed that they moved on ground, that they had legs, and that's what differentiated them from normal fish. Silverfish is not that helpful in saying what's distinctive about them in the fish category. Landfish would have been good.
Yeah.
Landfish would work. Silverfish sounds a bit too much like they could be in the same tank as goldfish.
Exactly.
They've got no business in that tank. Get out.
That's very poor naming.
Nobody talks about bronzefish. They don't even get a mention.
There might be bronzefish out there.
I mean,
you've still medalled.
Yeah,
as they say.
Exactly. We've had on the silverfish front, very popular today, the silverfish. 874, the silverfish, are they extinct? I can't have seen one for nearly 40 years. Now it's more likely to refer to a hipster coffee shop or a financial trading app.
Is it? I did not know that.
There you go.
I think they're just using those names. It's just that's the sort of thing that people call stuff, isn't it?
What about if this person lives in a Baco foil lined house and there's loads of silverfish, they cannot be detected?
What are silverfish attracted to? Is it silver?
No.
Oh.
I don't know what did that woman say they come out for? The cellulose.
Collagen in the cardboard.
Collagen.
Cellulose. I don't know what collagen is.
Oh, collagen a bit. Wake up and what about all those glamour models? Wake up and their lips are utterly encrusted in silverfish. What a terrible image. Don't those women go through enough when they got to go and empty their own bins in their underwear? I feel for them.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
I was looking at the list of popular names.
Oh, yeah.
And, I mean, Nigel Smith is right. The Nigels have dropped right out. I'll tell you what I was surprised. It's the similarity of the male-female, that number one in both charts. One is Oliver and one's Olivia.
Yeah.
How would you explain that's a big coincidence, isn't it?
It is, isn't it? I thought of you when I read it because it says in the article that Lucifer is risen.
Yes.
I mean,
there's
in more ways
Lucifers
than one.
there used to be.
There's
15. There's 15.
15 Lucifers last year and only 3 Jesuses. I think we can see the trend. I'm not even counting Catherine Jenkins.
No.
Who was, the agent of Lucifer on Earth.
Are there 15 Lucifers?
Yeah.
Goodness.
Do you think the Olivier thing comes from the popularity of pizzas? So people have just
not Sir Larry.
They've just looked at their pizzas and thought, what can I have? Because chorizo is not bad. Actually, anchovy for a girl.
Yeah.
Because she could call her Anne if she didn't like it. I quite like. Imagine someone with a single. If you Anchovy Dean would be quite a nice.
No, I just call myself Anchovy.
Yeah, that'd be good.
My name, it's Anchovy.
Oh, that's.
And then you know what I'd say? It would be my little sign off. It would be my thing. I'd say, as in the pizza. That's what I'd say.
That'd be great, and you could get silverfish for merchandise. That'd be moving merchandise.
It'd really take off.
I was talking about this exact subject to my friend Artie Chuck just the other day.
Oh.
I'll tell you what does surprise me, that still in 2021, the royal names are a big, like there's an Archie's and Harry's and George's all right. Can you believe that still influences people now?
Yeah, it really
not
does.
so many Camillas, it seems.
No.
Well,
Well, if we'd have had a girl, we were going to call her Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother.
That's nice.
I like it.
Do you know?
Long though, isn't it?
It is a bit long. Didn't crop
get
up
off
in
those swings.
In the end, we had a boy, so it was fine. But yeah,
There were 15 Lucifers. I think there are a few Judases as well.
wow. Do you think the 15 Lucifers are a direct response to Radio 4's adaptation of Paradise Lost? They've turned it round that quickly. Imagine calling your kid Lucifer, though, for goodness sake.
Do you know what, though? I quite respect that because...
Do you?
Well, sometimes these Lucifers, they're stealthy creatures, whereas at least you know what you're getting into. Someone walks in, hello, I'm Lucifer. They've named it after the series, Frank.
I look forward
Popular TV show.
next year. How many
is it?
heels of bubs is there going to be?
Yeah.
Did I tell you that a mate of mine who worked for Wolverhampton Council met a bloke called Darth Vader?
No.
And he said to him, "Are you a big Star Wars fan?" And he said, "No, not really." And he said, "Oh." He said, "Well, is it a nickname?" He said, "No, it's my name." And there'd been, in order to publicise a new Star Wars film on Beacon 303, the Wolverhampton radio, they had a competition, and if you change your name to Darth Vader, you won tickets for the premiere or whatever.
Yeah.
So he changed his name, and then they contacted him after and said, we'll pay for you to have it changed back. And he said, no, it's all right. Kids like it. And he just kept it. Not a big Star Wars fan. That's what I love about it.
Mr. Vader, like Mr. Rascal.
Yeah, it's a strange tale. It's one of the most
Strange old
Wolverhampton stories I've ever heard in my life. But there you go. So look, we come to the end of the show. Thank you for listening to us. And you know what? If the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again this time next week. Now get out.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.